So I started beating her head off a tree stump. That's when the blood started coming.
Was anything being said either by you, Ashley, or Brandy?
Brandy was screaming for her life.
On May 17, 2012, 20-year-old Brandy Stevens-Rosine went missing. A few days later, her car was found in her ex-girlfriend Jade Olmstead's garage, but it was completely empty from the inside. Then, after denying any information of Brandy's location, she vanished. So why was the car there? And where did Jade go? This is the story of Brandy Stevens-Rosine. Brandy was one of those children who radiated happiness. Just her presence could make her friends and family smile. She was an extrovert, good at conversations, and super bright.
She was a happy child. She had that contagious, outgoing energy that people just loved.
But like pretty much everyone, she also had her fair share of problems growing up, including a struggle with her identity, sexuality, and who she was growing into. Lucky for her though, she always received support from her friends and family.
I accepted her any way, shape, or form. She was my daughter. And Christy was there to help her along the way and guide her. She was amazing.
Christy Horvat, her best friend, went through similar struggles and supported Brandy the whole way. Slowly, Brandy came into her own and went to Youngstown State University and chose a double major in sociology and psychology. She wanted to use her education as a springboard to helping others and bringing a positive change to society. Apart from her studies, she was also passionate about music and art, but everything changed when Jade Olmstead came into her life. Brandy and Jade met online and connected almost instantly. They started dating after high school, and it was obvious that they liked each other a lot. Jade was quiet, introverted, and preferred to keep to herself most of the time. Even as a child, she would usually be alone and didn't have very many friends.
When I first met her, I thought that she lacked confidence. I feel like she wasn't comfortable in her own skin.
The main reason for this was that Jade's family was just not as supportive as Brandy's. They were very religious and not accepting of her sexuality. Her parents were described as unstable and unreliable, something that obviously had a huge effect on Jade's personality.
Jade really struggled with her parents. She came from a very religious household, and then she came out as a lesbian. Her parents were not happy about it. They wanted her to change who she was and just flip the switch and not be gay anymore.
This is perhaps why she was drawn to Brandy, who had a stronger personality and completely accepted Jade for who she was. Brandy would often take care of her girlfriend, but many people around them did not really see this as a healthy relationship. They could see that it was kind of one-sided, and they couldn't shake the feeling that Jade just didn't have the same love and compassion for Brandy.
I think that Brandy did a lot of things for Jade, and that made Jade feel good.
Her mother could also sense that something was not quite right. She really didn't approve of the relationship.
It was tough because I felt that Brandy could do so much better.
Time would prove that she was right. Soon their relationship came to an end when Jade stole some money from Brandy and skipped town. But even after this, they remained friends and continued to text each other. She'd wanted to break it off completely, but soon she'd go back and start texting her all over again. Jade took advantage of her ex's compassion and used emotional manipulation to control her. She would often ask Brandy to pick her up from Maryland, which was almost 300 miles away, and then bring her back to Ohio.
Yeah, it was unhealthy because Jade knew that Brandy would do anything for her.
Now, there is another integral character in this story, Ashley Barber. Ashley and Jade dated before Brandy. Even though Ashley grew up in an apparently normal family, she was described by her peers as domineering and a bit scary.
Ashley was very tough. She liked to put out there that no one could mess with her. She was aggressive.
A short while after her breakup with Brandy, Jade got back together with Ashley, and the two were even living together. Throughout their relationship, Ashley was extremely possessive about Jade. Brandy continued to be a supportive and platonic figure in Jade's life, but this would have terrible consequences. May 17th, 2012, the day Brandy went missing. That morning, she told her grandma that she was going to visit Rhiannon, one of her friends who lived in Ohio. But instead, she drove 80 miles to visit Jade and Ashley. On her way, Brandy felt extremely uneasy. She texted Rhiannon the address and expressed that she had a funny feeling. Despite this, she kept driving. As it became dark, Brandy's grandmother got concerned when she noticed that her granddaughter had left her backpack home, which contained insulin to help her with her diabetes. In a panic, she called Brandy, but all the calls went straight to voicemail. The next morning, she finally broke the news to Brandy's mother, Carrie. They immediately called the police and reported that the young woman was missing. Carrie went through her daughter's cell phone records and started contacting every single person she had talked to the day before. Soon, Brandy's phone pinged at a house somewhere on Linden Street in Meadowville, Pennsylvania, and Carrie immediately went there and started passing out flyers. But her daughter was still nowhere to be seen. One of Brandy's friends, Sarah Van Allen, got worried and told Carrie about Ashley's behavior. Reportedly, she had threatened to seriously harm Brandy.
She said, and I hope I get to kill her before her diabetes does.
Sarah, suspecting that something terrible had happened, started going through Ashley's social media, where she discovered that the 20-year-old had posted pictures of bruises all over her arms. 5 desperate days of searching later, Carrie decided to follow Brandy's best friend, Christy, and go to Ashley's parents' house. When Carrie saw Ashley, she noticed that she had a bandage on her arm. Ashley said that they were at the hospital when Brandy was supposed to be coming over. They claimed that she turned back because they weren't going to be home. Obviously, Carrie and Christy did not believe this and informed the police, who were also given the same story. But the next day, everything changed when Ashley's mother called the police and reported an unknown car in their garage. From the outside, the vehicle looked exactly like Brandy's, but the interior was completely different. It was cleaned out and emptied.
I said, what was in it? Well, nothing. I said, then something's happened, because my daughter's car was a pigsty. I know my daughter's car, and if there's nothing in that car, something's happened to my daughter.
And immediately, the situation escalated. The cops went to their residence to talk to the 2 girls, but when they got there, they found out that both Jade and Ashley were now missing as well. They had packed their bags in the middle of the night and fled. But they didn't stay on the run for too long. An off-duty trooper spotted them getting into a car, and they were picked up and taken to the police station. Immediately, their stories changed.
I started out interviewing Ms. Barber, and she wasn't being truthful with me.
Ashley and Jade both claimed that Brandy had in fact come to the house, but she soon left to see another woman called Jamie.
Basically, they both stuck to the story that Ms. Stevens had showed up and was running off to meet another young lady who was never seen from again.
This story seemed pretty unlikely, and the cops didn't know what to make of it. And then, Ashley changed her story again. She started blaming her father and said that he had gotten into a fight with Brandy and attacked her with a shovel. But while the Pennsylvania State Police was interviewing the girls, investigators were walking about 400 yards behind Ashley's house, where they stumbled upon an absolutely horrific scene. The investigators spotted some fresh dirt and realized what had happened. They began to dig in that area and they found a human body. The body was identified as Brandy Stevens-Rosine.
2 in the morning, my mom came to my house and told me they had found her body. It was awful. It was the worst night ever.
When the news of the body being found got back to the station, Ashley's story changed once again. This time, she told one of the troopers that she was going to give more information, but first, she had to talk to Jade in person. After the 2 had a discussion, they decided to tell the police the true story. This wasn't a murder that had taken place in the spur of the moment. It was cold and calculated.
Ashley, let's clean the slate and just tell me what happened.
It was planned.
Jade led her down the secluded path to the fort and called Ashley to come, who quickly ran to the scene. Jade had her arm around Brandy, and Ashley started punching the poor girl in the face over and over again.
So I came up and I punched her in the face. I don't know how many times, but I know it broke her nose.
Brandy kept screaming and asking them to let her go. She promised she wouldn't tell anyone.
Jade, stop it. I won't tell anybody. Just let it go now. I told people where I was.
As Jade and Ashley beat her up, she tried everything in her power to escape. She screamed, kicked, punched, but to no avail. Ashley didn't want Brandy to run away, so she started beating her head off the tree stump. Jade then picked up a shovel and got Brandy with it around 4 times. That's where the bruises came from on Ashley's arms. Jade had accidentally hit her while she was holding Brandy down. They didn't stop there. Ashley put a rope around Brandy's neck and tried to end her while Jade continued to hit Brandy with the shovel. The victim went limp. She was grasping for air, and she kept asking Jade to stop.
Was anything being said either by you, or Ashley, or Brandy?
Brandy was screaming for her life.
As Brandy lay in a puddle of her own blood, Jade got angry because she wasn't fighting back. Ashley picked up the back of the rope and let Brandy's head hit the stump around 10 times. As if it couldn't get any more horrific, Ashley and Jade then dragged a severely beaten Brandy and pushed her into a grave that they'd already dug. Still, the brutality didn't end there. Ashley could tell that Brandy was still breathing, and she picked up a big boulder, walked to the top of the grave, and threw it on her face. She then poured water into the victim's mouth and nose in an attempt to drown her. Finally, they started covering her with dirt, even though they weren't sure if she was dead or not. As it turns out, she wasn't. She had been buried alive. Soon, the cops found even more evidence. Ashley had written a note where she admitted to murdering Carrie's 20-year-old mistake and claimed that Brandy deserved it. Jade wrote that she didn't feel guilty at all and was actually proud of what she had done.
Our intentions were to bring her over so we could kill her.
Jade Olmstead and Ashley Barber were both charged with first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While they never really explained what their motive was, the cops believe that it was their attempt to show how much they care about each other. Ashley was super jealous and insecure, and when she found out that Jade was in contact with Brandy, the two decided to murder her. Brandy's friends and family still regret that they didn't pay attention to the signs. Sarah Van Allen expressed that she didn't take Ashley's social media threat seriously and should have shared it with the police sooner.
It definitely taught me a lot more to pay attention to the things that people say, because I feel like had I said something, this wouldn't have happened.
While Brandy's mother will bear the scars of this horrific incident forever, she believes that there is an important lesson to be learned.
Listen to your gut. You have a bad feeling. Don't just text somebody, I have a bad feeling, this is where I'll be if something happens to me. If you have a bad feeling, don't go.
During further investigations, the police found a letter that Ashley had written to her parents. She said that this wasn't her first murder, and it wouldn't be her last. Thanks for watching, you guys. What do you think about this case? Let me know down in the comment section, and before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe.